The top story tonight, in a scene as heartwarming as a soldier coming home to his dog, Trump returned to his Hannity on Fox News to defend January 6th and celebrate the success of his new chart-topping track called Justice for All, recorded with the January 6th Prisoners Choir.
Are you really beating Taylor Swift, by the way?
Yeah, I did. The J6 is beating Taylor Swift. It's Donald Trump and the J6 Prisoners.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
On iTunes and on Amazon and on Billboard, which is the big deal. #1, Donald Trump. So now I feel like Elvis.
The comparison to Elvis is apt as both artists engaged in questionable profiteering, which brings us to a new tuning out investigation. Who is making bank off this January 6th song? The Justice for All track was released through a company called Mailman Media, which is run by intrepid reporter always the first on the scene of his alleged sex crimes, disgraced former Fox News host Ed Henry. A company rep tells us all proceeds will go to nonviolent January 6 prisoners and their families. But when we asked if documentation exists backing that up, they responded, quote, "I doubt it at this point, but as it is through nonprofits and such, eventually will all be public information, and such used there the same way a guy covered in blood says I've been doing non-murders and such, because Ed Henry's Mailman Media is registered in Florida as a, quote, domestic profit company." We asked Ed Henry's attorney for documentation backing up the claim that the proceeds will indeed go to their advertised recipient and have not heard back. Here to discuss is Democratic strategist who spent 3 months using a Panera Bread table as an Andrew Yang campaign office before the manager caught on, Lydia Parker.
Good evening.
Chief Washington Bureau Chief who assumes even far-off honking is somehow aimed at him, Jonathan Keene.
Hello.
Chief Field Correspondent who is getting pretty good at drawing a card, James Smartwood Jr.
Hey, Dad.
And CBS News Chief White House Correspondent and tuning out contributor barred from embedding with the troops because they keep asking him what to do next, Major Garrett. Thank you so much for being here, Major.
Always a pleasure.
Now, Major, is Trump running on January 6th a miscalculation, considering he has so many other disgraces he can run on?
Well, you talked about this profit motive, the grift behind January 6th. Well, it began with the grift of the stolen so-called election of 2020. The 2020 election was not stolen, but there are Trump supporters who consistently donate and are asked again and again to donate on behalf of fraudulent claims that election was stolen. So donating to groups that say they're going to represent or do something on behalf of January 6th defendants continues that pattern. All of this is about a throne of lies that the president currently wants to sit on.
This choir is technically prison labor, so it makes sense that they're not the ones making money off of their work.
Now, the J6 choir and their families should be grateful to receive the financial backstabbing Trump bequeaths upon only his closest associates.
You know, I thought the Prisoners Choir was pitchy. That's all from me. I just want to thank the control room and
Junior.
everyone behind the scenes here at Big
Junior,
News.
hold on, Junior. The show is actually still going on.
Yeah, I'm late for my karate lesson, so I have to.
It's fine. You can
try to wrap it up.
Is everything okay if you're late?
Okay, yeah. Well, you obviously don't know my sensei, but yeah, no, it's not okay.
All right, well, moving on. Trump has also embraced victimhood in the Manhattan District Attorney's case against him for hush payments to Stormy Daniels, claiming it's a witch hunt orchestrated by George Soros. With Easter approaching, we're pleased to bring you the story of the victimization and resurrection of Donald Trump.
The humble carpenter stiffer Donald J. Trump preached the gospel of deflecting and scapegoating to his loyal followers, who he privately thought were total slobs. He promised the gates of heaven would be open to all podiatrists willing to pause their daughters' vows to let Trump do a drop-in set roasting Paul Ryan for 45 minutes. But then the Prince of Pizza was betrayed by his disciple Judas Michael Cohen for just 30 silver taxi medallions and a scratching stick that gets right in there under the ankle monitor and feels amazing. And so at the behest of the Soros-funded Romans, soft-on-heresy District Attorney Alvin Bragg made Trump pay the ultimate price, a small fine. And Trump looked to the heavens and said, "Father, forgive them, for none of them have a very good brain." But lo, 3 days later, Melania and Stormy went to the king of the Jew haters' Mar-a-Lago tomb and found that the boulder, Ron DeSantis, had miraculously rolled away. Then they heard a voice, and the voice was Trump's, and it said, text hashtag Trump to donate $50 and win a chance to meet Corey Lewandowski. The end.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So,
Wow.
That was
that
lovely.
was Gorgeous.
A magical tale.
Now, in other Cancer on Society news, the nation is grappling with another mass shooting, this time in Nashville. The shooter identified as transgender, prompting the scientists at Fox News to develop a non-gun excuse for gun violence in record time.
But first, a trans killer.
New details on the trans mass murderer.
The shooter was a trans person.
This is something that we're seeing, sort of trans-related violence being supported by people in elite institutions, and it's very important to deal with it.
We should note that 130 mass shootings have taken place in 2023 so far, but leave it to Fox News to use this mass shooting to call for comprehensive trans reform. Major, we have President Biden once again calling for an assault weapons ban. How will he sell the political loser that is stopping kids from getting killed in schools?
The president said very recently that he's done all he can do. He's written all the executive orders he can. There is no more White House authority in this space. If Congress does not act, the president said, we can expect as a nation more shootings. And just a note on this trans connection that Fox drew. All the statistical data for the last 2 years indicate that there has been a rise of violence against trans people in America. Murder, assault, rape, and other types of violent crimes. They are more often, statistically, clearly, the victims of violence as opposed to being the perpetrators.
But with more Americans experiencing multiple mass shootings, we might soon build herd immunity.
Well, look, broad bipartisan support for banning assault weapons and a weakened National Rifle Association does raise the question, why can't the United States government pass a law banning assault weapons?
Because of me!
I'm sorry, who are you?
It is I, the mythical troll of Capitol Hill, eternally blocking America from passing an assault weapons ban. There's no earthly reason, certainly.
That's a lot less confusing.
All square? All good? All cleared up?
Yeah,
sure.
no, this is great.
That helps a lot.
Okay, awesome. Sweet.